Hello to everyone watching on YouTube. My name is Surjo, and in this video I shall be talking about how to edit the patches on a Boss GT-1000. I have already done a basic patch run through of the Boss GT-1000 in a previous video. I hope you go check all that out. I think I've been through more than 60 patches, 70, 80 patches in that video, just so that you'll get an idea of what the sounds are like. But in this video, we're going to talk about how to edit one sound and what the basic process is, what the lingo is on the on the interface, and what it sort of looks like. The signal chain is my Strat has gone into the Boss GT-1000, which is connected by two XLR outs into the recording interface. So that's what the signal chain is. And going right into it, you can take a good look at what the situation looks like out here. Bank up, bank down, but what I'm really wanting you to focus on is the screen. So unfortunately I had to make sure the brightness of the other things was a little lesser so that you all can see the screen better. Otherwise the screen would just be way too bright and you wouldn't be able to read the differences. So straight beneath the screen we have 6 knobs, and we can do basic editing with those 6 knobs, because on the 6 knobs you can see what's written on the screen. Corresponding to knob 1 is patch, knob 2 is gain, knob 3 bass, treble, knob 5 is BPM, knob 4 is treble, knob 5 BPM, and knob 6 is patch level. So if you were to basically test that, so if I were to, so you can increase the patch with that. Alright, cool. Bring it back down to, by the way, this U is basically the user banks. All right, when you see P written, those are the preset banks. When you see U written, those are the user banks. There are 50 preset banks with 5 sounds per bank and 50 user banks with 5 sounds per bank. Total of 250, 250, 500 sounds. Lot of sounds, a lot of space for all your patches. You can set up your whole your whole gigs set list right there. So we're on the U, we're on 1-1. We're going to basically do all our editing out here. If you can see, this is the tempo. It's written 120, and like I said, we change the patch with 1, we change the gain with 2. So we have the gain out here. It's written 70. This is 35. Ten. And you can do a pretty simple, right? Just change the gain stuff, so on right there. Your bass, it's on 80, similar thing, up and down, treble 50, up and down. The BPM is on 120, you can move it up and down. Patch level is at 100, you can move it up or down. So you have your basic changes right here. So some basic differences, like you just want to change a little bit of volume somewhere, a little bit gain somewhere. You can do that. Now, we also have seen in the previous video that they have stuff assigned to the different control pedals. So control 3 is always a tuner in this. See, I can hit it all at once because, like I said in the previous video, this is a polyphonic tuner. Not only is it a polyphonic tuner, it is a polyphonic tuner as well as your normal tuner. So there are these page buttons. I want to go quickly go through what they do. Same thing, premium drive. And this sort of is interesting because this is telling me what all of this kind of does. All right, for this patch, for premium drive, what this does. So these two are bank up and down, right? Because it's written up there, bank up, bank down. This is channel select. The control one is assigned to channel select. So if I switch the channel, as when the green comes on, it's supposed to be a different channel. So if we were to test that, alright, so what it is essentially doing is it's switching to a different channel only. It's a stereo setup and it's switching to a different channel, a different amp. Okay, the control 2 is written MST-DLY, which is your master delay. So if I have no delay, alright, and you have your expression 1 switch. I haven't switched it on because you're seeing that there's no light switched on here, and honestly speaking, like this is where I can operate with my hands and not my feet. Obviously, to generate enough force to be able to switch it on and off is going to be a job and a half to try to do that, to be very honest with you. As you can see, I'm trying to do that, I'm shaking the camera, but I'll tell you what the functionality of that is. Moving on, this right here, what you can see is the effects chain. This is the effects chain, all right? So you have your function, which is your pedal essentially, right? If you've put any function on the pedal, so you have that right at the front of the thing. Then you have a compressor, then you have an EQ, then you have some sort of effects, any sort of effect, a phaser in this case, and then it splits into 2 different signal chains. You have your distortions 1, distortion 2, and then you go into your amps 1 or 2, your noise suppressors 1 and 2, your EQs 1 and 2, you go out into another EQ, and this is your foot volume. This is where this currently is working. The pedal currently is having just the, you know, your volume, and then you have your delays 1, 2 and 3, delay 4, your master delay, your FX2 for your flanger, your FX3 for your tremolo, a chorus, a looper, a reverb, and it goes out and out into your subs or your mains, and then into your master. That's the full chain. That's how many things you can edit. You take a look at that chain again, just see how long it is. That requires 2 presses of the button to get across. That's unbelievable. You have the option of being able to edit all of this, everything. So that's what the page, pressing on page right here, this is page, that's what this is going to do. We're back out there. Alright, very cool. So we've gone through the basic knob editing here and just seen what the page things are. How do we essentially get into editing the patch? You go into effect, it lands you on something that looks just like what the page had, apart from the fact that now there's stuff written underneath it as well. Okay, so if you can see this, there's a highlighted section on FX. Can you see that highlight moving along? So you move the highlight with knob 6, by the way. Whatever you want to edit, you change that through knob 6. Okay, so we have effects, and now here it is written, and I'm really hoping that you can read at least some of this. This is going to be a little difficult on a cell phone screen, but I hope not. I'm doing my best to try and capture this. Type is wah type, fat wah, pedal position 0, 100, pedal max 100, off and on. So apparently there's some sort of wah here. Like I said, I hadn't switched the expression pedal on. It was just being used as the volume pedal, which is its standard function. So it says off and on here on 6. Sorry. And you can see this light up. So for the purposes of the edit, you can switch it on and off with your knob 60 Hz. You turn to the and you switch it on and off. Alright, you have the wah type. You can change that. You can change the wah to a pedal bend, and when you are at a pedal bend, you do something different with that. You can change the type of wah, box wah, crybaby wah, this is a fat wah, light wah, 7-string wah, resonator wah, all sorts of options. I actually like the sound, so I'm not going to mess with that, but this video is for the purpose of you to see what can happen, how to do it. You change it the way you want to change it, you know. Now, effect level, direct mix, there's all sorts of things in there. The more you get into it, basically, I'm just showing you where the basic directions and guidelines are. I'm moving on to a compressor. They have a compressor, but I don't think the compressor is on, but they do have one. That's the compressor switching on. Off. And so you have the type of compressor on knob 1, sustain, attack, level, tone, ratio, and direction. Right now the ratio is infinity to 1, which is questionable. But you can change all that. Again, you want to change it, you have basically turn the knobs on, you turn the knob clockwise, counterclockwise, get whatever setting that it is you want. That's essentially how to change it, okay? Now, moving on to the EQ, parametric EQ, low. So the parametric EQ, which you can change to a graphic EQ. They got two options here. You got your low gain, high gain, your level, your low mid frequency, low mid Q, and low mid gain. Comprehensive stuff, something to do before you get into the amp. They have a phaser on here. So now moving on, we have the actual way, like how's it going to go? Is it going to go two, like single, double? You have, duals and single. And in your thing you have your channel A and B. And this is where you know that what the control, because here you see channel A, select. Once you press this, it goes to channel B. So in a stereo setup, it's essentially your mono situation is going this way and then stereo is going this way. Okay? And you can select it to go, I guess, dual as well, which would mean dual would basically mean both simultaneously. So if you wanted to have this, people have stereo rigs and all that. That's pretty cool stuff, by the way. Stereo rig. So you can do a stereo rig right there if you wanted to. Moving on. Distortion 1, distortion 2, whether you want it, whether you don't. If I have a distortion on, moving on. Stereo link. Again, same thing. You want to combine. Moving on to the amp type. Now this is for particular interest to me because I can't keep playing on high gain amps all the time. It's not my preference. So they have this amp type which is called X high gain. So they've got something X crunch. And this I guess would be the preamp section. So this is the bulk of the tone is going to happen right here. So you should know how to do this. Juggernaut, maximum, supreme, boutique, natural, and transparent. So they have gain, sag, resonance, level, bass, mid, treble, etc. Now if you wanted, I guess if you wanted to see that a little bit bigger than what it is right now. Right, so we're on the transparent amp type right now. And maybe just for editing's sake and how there's been uniformity in terms of editing when people want to see real amp panel preference, And so for the purpose of that, you can press continue pressing the 6th knob like you press it. There's a click press and you hold it for a while and you get a more traditional interface, although it's digital, but still you have all the same things: gain, sag, resonance, level, bass, middle, treble, presence, gain switch. So what kind of are you using low gain version of the amp, a middle gain or a high gain version of the amp? Solo switch, all the things that you would normally associate with Boss editing. Solo switch, gain switch, get bass, mid, treble, solo switch on off, the bass, mid, treble, presence, and in this case sag and resonance, and gain naturally. So that's one, and you can hear the difference. Sounds lovely to me. Now, the fun aspect of this is, in this particular patch, since they just have, they're just switching the channel. So what I mean by that is they're just going from amp 1, which we are working on right now, which we've got to transparent, to the previous amp 2, which is like this extremely distorted. So in case I wanted to actually change that in itself, if I wanted to change that, I need to know where to go. So this step out of effect, this is where effect was. Step out of effect, click menu. Go to control assign. You need to go to the knob there. Underneath it's written control assign, underneath that knob 1. Press on that. Then it's written control function. So I'm going to press on that and I'm going to see what's written out there. Right? It's written division 1 channel select. Now division 2 channel select, looper, looper stop, looper clear, metronome, MIDI start, all sorts of things. You can see the whole thing is out here. Everything is out here. You can change so much, including the DI, the levels, everything. Everything, right? So I'm going to start adding a few things to it. let's say I'm just going to keep this off right now, okay, and for the sake of clarity I'm just going to keep it off right now, and I'm going to try and assign setting. Okay, I'm going to try and assign a few settings to control 1. Distortion 1 on and off, right? So yeah, I'm going to, so you see that there's a small, can you see the small dot comes in and on? So it's now it's off and on, and it's on control 1. Now I can go back and set that. I'm going to go and set the distortion of this, but I at least got the distortion on. I'm going to try and add as many things so that you can see there are actually 6 things in here. So there are more than 6 things. There are 16 things I can add in the control. So on one control switch I can switch to 16 things. I can change the amp type, I can change whatever the hell I want, right? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Distortion 1 type, tone, see the distortion 2, the number of options out here is ridiculous. This is the meat and bones or meat potato. What do you call it? Meat and potatoes? Is that the idiom? Is this where not being a native English speaker comes against me? Graphic EQ, EQ, you can just do whatever you want. Graphic EQ, huge EQ, like you can change every aspect of your EQ with delays, master delays, choruses, FX1 on off. I'm gonna go with that because I think they had a phaser. Didn't they have a phaser? I'm gonna go with that. And they had a compressor on off too. I'm gonna go with that. I'm just adding all this crap on, like basically, and when I say crap I don't mean it at all. Delays, so many options. 16, this is right here, amp type, 16 effects you can switch, 1 control button if you wanted to, 2 controls, 3 controls, you keep it as you want it. You can keep it as you want it. You can remove the tuner from the control 3 if it so pleased you. Unbelievable. I'm just going through this for the first time just to see the number of just things it has. It's crazy. Jesus. Yeah, I'm going to put another FX2 on and off. I'm going to keep it to that. So the things that I've put on right now on control 1 is distortion 1 on off, FX1 on off, compressor on off, and FX2 on and off. It would behoove me, that I did by going to menu, by the way, it would behoove me to go and actually see what the hell all these things are. So first of all, I think I said distortion 1 on off, didn't I say that? Distortion 1 on off, that's absolutely correct. So where am I? So this is my distortion 1 on off. Can I please see what? Yeah, natural OD. I might have gotten a bit too enthusiastic. Trying to add everything onto it. So for the sake of this discussion, what is FX2? FX1 going along the chain. FX2 is a flanger. Wow. Wow. No. A classic vibe. Obviously I'm making a mockery of the whole thing. This is not how you make patches, but This is just to show that's how many things you can put on. You can obviously mess the patch up, like I'm doing with extreme precision. I'm switching the FX to off, and I'm switching the FX to off, and for the time being I'm switching the FX1 off as well, because I really want to get the distortion sound where I want it to be. Right, so what do they have for me? Natural OD, clean boost. That clean boost isn't bad. Mid boost. I like it, but I was just hoping that they would have some version of a tube screamer for me to play with. Nice. Love it, absolutely love it, which means I would want to go to the blues OD as well. There is such a thing as having too much fun, and you're not supposed to do that in a video, but then again, I'm wearing a Thanos t-shirt. I should be having fun. So, switching both of those off, you can basically understand that you can do this for anything. Anything. You can assign control, assign setting, target one. So this is what happens. You go to your control setting, right? You want to make major changes with your patches. Control 1, you want a whole lot of things on. You hit your menu, you go to control function, you go to assign setting. Let's go through that one more time. Hit ta-da-ta. Hit your menu, go to control assign, go to assign setting. Okay? You choose what you want with knob 2. That's this one. You turn it on and off, and you scroll down, scroll up and down through all the 16. That's 16 possibilities. All right, you switch them on and off with the click right here. I don't know if the column mic is going to catch that, but if it's not, it's like that's happening. Not that loud, obviously. Minimum value, maximum value. In case if a lot of the stuff is like off on stuff, like you're just turning it off and on, so then it's going to show that. But in case it's something else, like you want a certain amount of gain, and then you hit control and the gain, so you write that. Gain this to that, bass this to that, treble that to that, whatever, So 3 and 4 are basically values. 5 is basically your source. Which control switch? Control 1, control 2, 3, 4. You can attach external controls to this. Okay, there's like a just Google that picture of the front end of this. It's like a like crazy litany of things. I'm just taking a look at the box right now. I can see control 2, 3, 4. There are like 4 of them to this. And nowadays you also have multiple 4-in-1 control. Like, you can do all that. So expression, and then MIDI it. Obviously MIDI it. Everything is MIDI. So you can do that, and then the value, whether it's a moment thing or it's a toggle thing, and especially in terms of a lot of control stuff, it's obviously going to be toggle. In case you're using like expression pedals, external expression pedals, they're going to be moment things. If you want to be like volume pedals, swells, VARs, things like that. So as you can see, it's a lot. Moving on, it's essentially a lot of the same stuff. So basically, this is where you have it. Take your 6, keep moving it along. You can go to the second amp type. This is this right now, and we're not even like we're not even going to that because we're not we can only go to that because I've changed it. I'm not done the channel select anymore. I've done overdrive shift now, so we can't go to that now. Right now it's just a mono chain. We can do that. We can go to the thing if we switch it from yucks, because you shouldn't do that. Not particularly desirable, I must admit. I'm switching it back to single. This is just too much. I like the thing we had here. As a matter of fact, I feel like I might have switched off something. There you go. I've switched the distortion off. Now we get that. I really enjoy this. I'm really enjoying this. So you keep moving knob 6 forward. You can get through all that. You have EQ 4, and this right here you can see is the the foot volume essentially. Delays 1, 2, 3, 4. Is a lot of delays. Master delay, effects 2, effects 3, chorus, a looper, a reverb, more modes, and then finally everything your outputs. So as you can see, it's quite a bit. Like, they put quite a bit into it, and I think that's great. And I think the sounds are great. I think I went through that in the previous video. I really thought the sounds were good. I thought the sounds held up. I think the sounds are holding up now. So even during the editing process, once you're able to dial a sound in, and I also feel that the effects chain that they've put up, this lengthy chain, is actually a very good chain. I mean, there is the option of selecting and moving stuff, but only get into that if you really know what you're doing, because you could end up with a lot of noise in your signal. And they've kind of written that as well. I'm like, they pretty much got it exactly the right way you want it. Your distortions up ahead, your reverbs, delays all at the back. One effects up ahead, maybe one effects at the back. It's nice. They've given options for everything. What you want to turn on, what you want to turn off, stereos, monos. They got this down. They've really done a good job with it. For my money, they've really done a good job with it. You can turn things on and off, expression pedal, VARs, on, off, octavers. It's got so many effects. so many amp types and so many ways of controlling them, and you can literally change within the patch itself. You can change the sound completely, and then there's so many patches. It's easy to switch up banks. And I've noticed one thing about this, by the way, that if you switch from one sound to the other, there's no abrupt switch off, like there's no abrupt shift. So what I mean is, I think there's no abrupt, there's none of that. It switches smoothly. I think that's tremendous. I think that's tremendous. So I've just undid all the work because I didn't press right, but in case you want to do that, press right. There's right, exchange, initialize, insert. Do what you gotta do, right? Press it in there and figure out whichever one and do your thing. Okay. So yeah, and there's a lot more in the menu, but this is this particular thing that I just showed. Like, you know, there's in and out settings, there's looper options, MIDI options, factory reset. There are more things in the controller sign, but I basically focused on the controller sign simply because I wanted to show how the patches were edited. Yeah, and in and out setting, you can see they've got settings for everything, so it's very, very comprehensive. Keeping all that in mind, I hope that this video helps you. If it has, please share, like, comment, subscribe. There's more videos coming along the way. I'm also really keen on recording my own songs and putting them out there. I think you guys might enjoy that. I would really appreciate that support then. Like, I think they're worth something. If they're not worth something, I'm not talking monetarily, I think that you guys might like to hear it. You know, like the Facebook page or stay subscribed or something. Like, just keep in touch so that y'all can give me the feedback, like, you know, if you like the stuff or not. Because doing demos and all is fine, and I will continue to do those, but you know, the musician in me has songs that I want to write and put out. So that makes this part of it a smaller part of the journey rather than the major part of the journey. Anyway, I hope this helped you. Until next time, take care.